We're getting results in your neighborhood, now at noon.
Now at noon, crews continue to battle multiple wildfires across Central Florida. News 6 is getting results with updates from Volusia County. Plus, voters in District 6 will be heading to the polls this weekend to kick off early voting. We take a look at the candidates of the state races on the ballot. Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us on clickorlando.com and News 6 Plus. I'm Crystal Moyer. Bridget has the day off. We're keeping an eye on a large brush fire burning in Volusia County. Here's a look at the map here. It's called the Honeydew Fire, and it's in the Samsula area near State Roads 44 and Tomoka Farms Road. Right now, the Honeydew Fire is only 80% contained. Here's a live look right now. So far, it's covered 336 acres. You could see all of that smoke there. It prompted several neighbors to evacuate the area. We're going to keep an eye on that. And there's another wildfire from Orange County causing concerns earlier today. This was from this morning near Dean Cove Lane. Officials tell us this fire is 100% contained, and crews are just out there working on some lingering hot spots. Now let's go ahead and turn to our forecast with meteorologist Michelle Morgan. And you said, what we're dealing with, the dry weather, the wind, that's what's causing all of these issues with the fire threat.
Yeah, definitely. A combination of all of those things will continue to heighten that fire risk. There is a red flag warning in effect for Orange, Osceola, and Brevard County, but really everybody needs to pay attention to this forecast because it's super dry. It's very windy, not a whole lot of rain in the forecast. We are still under a drought across many locations in Central Florida. So all of those things definitely really the perfect recipe for a wildfire to get going. So just keep that in mind for today. Things to avoid. Avoid anything that has to do with fire, fireworks, bonfires, all of that. Just avoid it today and properly discard cigarettes, cigars, and keep vehicles off dry grass. As I mentioned before, the vegetation across Central Florida, it is very dry. The soil moisture levels very, very low. And as we take a look at the wind and wind gust here, still howling out of the northwest between 10 to 15 miles per hour sustained, but notice the gusts, 23 miles per hour in New Smyrna Beach, 20 miles per hour in Cocoa Beach, and we're at 19 miles per hour in Orlando. Now, winds will slowly subside as we go into the afternoon hours, but it's still going to remain breezy. Right now, temperatures are warming up a bit. We're in the upper 50s, and things will get into the lower 70s, upper 60s today. Now, we warm up even better as we head into the weekend. Nice forecast. We'll talk more about that coming up in a bit. Crystal.
Thanks, Michelle. Today, President Trump is meeting with Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth in the Oval Office. This comes as the White House denies a report by the New York Times that advisor Elon Musk was going to be briefed on top secret war plans. Natalie Brand has the latest from Washington.
President Trump and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth announced plans Friday to build next-generation fighter jet.
In terms of all of the attributes of a fighter jet, there's never been anything even close to it, from speed to maneuverability to what it can have to payload.
It comes shortly after advisor Elon Musk visited the Pentagon for what Secretary Hegseth called an informal meeting about efficiency and innovation.
President Trump, along with Musk and Secretary Hegseth, all deny a report by the New York Times that the Pentagon set up a briefing for Musk on plans for potential war with China.
In a social media post this morning, President Trump called the report false and said Musk is not being briefed on anything China. In the latest court ruling against the administration, a federal judge has blocked DOJ's access to Social Security systems containing Americans' personal information, calling it essentially a fishing expedition. Meanwhile, teachers' unions are vowing to fight the president's new executive order to dismantle the Department of Education.
The Department of Education was established in 1980. We've spent almost $3 trillion since that time trying different programs through both administrations, and it hasn't worked.
The president says student loans, Pell Grants, and funding for children with special needs or from low-income families will be fully preserved but redistributed to other agencies and departments. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
We now know the name of the man shot and killed in an Orange County neighborhood. Deputies with the Orange County Sheriff's Office say they found 18-year-old Divine Freitas with a gunshot wound along Creekwood Drive in the area of Pine Castle last night. Freitas was rushed to the hospital but died from his injuries. So far, investigators have not said what led up to the shooting or if anyone has been arrested. And results 2025 early voting for Florida's special election in Congressional District 6 starts tomorrow, and supervisors of elections are already making final preparations. News 6's Angie Casada is in Mount Dora with the steps being taken ahead of early voting.
Yeah, Lake County is just one out of 4 counties that's going to be taking part in this special election. We were actually in Volusia County yesterday where the canvassing board met to certified ballots like this one. This is a sample ballot right here. We spoke with Supervisor of Elections Lisa Lewis, who gave us a full breakdown on what voters need to know.
With just 2 weeks until Florida's special election in Congressional District 6, supervisors of elections are finalizing preparations and reminding voters to be prepared.
Really to find out if they do live in Congressional District 6. In Volusia County, we have 2 congressional districts that represent us, 6 and 7, so it's only for 6, which is the northern half of the county. And if they go to our website, we have right here, it says, do I live in Congressional District 6?
Okay.
Learn more, you can click on it. It pulls up an interactive map. You can put in your address and find out exactly where you go to vote and if you are eligible to vote in this election.
Real easy.
Very easy.
Voters in Volusia, Flagler, Lake, and Marion counties will decide who replaces Mike Waltz, who left Congress to serve as President Donald Trump's national security advisor. This is one of 2 vacant seats in Florida's 28-member House delegation. State Senator Randy Fine won the Republican primary, while educator Josh Wheels secured the Democratic nomination. The winner will head to Washington after the April 1st election. Supervisors are also watching potential changes to state voting laws, including a proposal to require audits of all election results.
Actually, Volusia County is a little ahead of the game. We have been utilizing clear ballot audit system for 4 years. So it's 2 election cycles, 22 and 24, where we audit 100% of our election results.
Again, early voting kicks off tomorrow, this Saturday at 8 in the morning until 5 in the afternoon in Volusia. We heard here in Lake County it's going to be from 10 o'clock to 6 o'clock. And again, those supervisors are encouraging folks to come out early so you can avoid those long lines. Reporting in Lake County, Angie Casada, getting results, News 6.
Angie, thanks. And Brevard County is getting ready to hold a special primary election for the state seats being vacated by Randy Fine and Debbie Mayfield. As Angie mentioned, Fine is running for U.S. Congress. Mayfield is leaving her state House seat to run for the state Senate. Early voting for the 2 state primaries in Brevard County starts tomorrow, March 22nd, and runs through Saturday, March 29th. Election day for the special primary is April 1st, and that's the same dates for the special general election for Congressional District 6. And in District 15, Lavon Bracy Davis says she is running for the state Senate. In an announcement this morning, Bracy says she wants to continue the legacy of former state Senator Geraldine Thompson. Bracy has also filed an amendment to the street designation bill in the Florida House that will name a section of South Street Senator Geraldine Thompson Way. Another discussion about short-term rentals in Brevard County. Last month, the Cocoa Beach City Council enacted the most expensive vacation rental registration fees in the state. News 6's Mike Valenti explains how it's all going to work.
Now I'd like to talk about the fees as far as the registration.
And there's a lot of people in Cocoa Beach who wanted to hear their elected leaders talk about those registration fees, which now sit at $2,500 for vacation rental owners registering for the first time. That's up from $525.
By making short-term rentals increasingly expensive to register, we risk driving compliance underground. This is exactly what the city is trying to avoid.
But at one point in the 3-hour meeting, commissioners voted unanimously to enact a sort of grace period. For the next 30 days, if you're registering a vacation rental for the first time, you pay $500.
We're trying to get people into compliance so that we don't need to use more staff.
Mayor Keith Capizzi voted against the initial hike last month, but Thursday night he joined 2 other commissioners in voting to expand the vacation rental regulations beyond just residential neighborhoods to the whole city.
I'm trying to make it fair for everybody.
That begged this question from vacation rental owner Jim Vadic.
Is it possible now that you're going to be gathering the money from the 1,500 plus people that you could maybe consider that renewal fee not $1,500?
Tough luck for Jim, as the 30-day grace period will not apply to those renewing their registration, a fee recently raised to $1,500. But Thursday night, commissioners did signal they're open to lowering the newly amended rates. perhaps at a future meeting. In Cocoa Beach, Mike Valenti, Getting Results, News 6.
It is 12:10 on your Friday. Here's a live look out at Daytona Beach. It is windy out there, a little chilly, so not too many folks, but it is spring break, and while some are flocking to the beach, others are taking part in a free dental care event in the area. It's meant to get results and provide care for some 2,000 Central Floridians. The line outside of Mainland High School this morning says it all. As you can see here, all spots for today are filled up, and they will not be taking any additional patient registrations today. The event, though, provides free services like cleanings, root canals, and checkups. For some people, it's the first time they've seen a dentist in years.
There's patients all over the state who are living with pain, infections, and dental needs that aren't being addressed. And so that's why we're super grateful to provide this event for our community.
And while all the spots are closed for today, patients can come tomorrow as early as 5:30 a.m. when the event parking lot will be unlocked, so you can line up there. This event is first come, first serve, so you've got to get there early. Happening today, a special event aimed at getting results and helping those who have given so much to our country. Volusia County is holding a stand down event for veterans. Here's some video from last year's event. It's modeled after a program used during the Vietnam War that provided a safe place for combat units returning home. The stand down will help connect veterans with a variety of important services, including housing, VA benefits, health and wellness screenings, even free haircuts and clothes. The event will be held at the Ocean Center in Daytona Beach both today and tomorrow until 2 p.m. Americans stranded for now after a fire at London's Heathrow Airport. Travelers are already making alternative plans to make it home after the chaos. Michelle.
And we are looking at a red flag warning across Central Florida today for parts of Orange as well as Brevard and Osceola County. But nonetheless, just be very careful with any burning. Today it is windy, it is dry, and again, we're looking at a high-end fire risk. Now we'll talk more about that and your weekend forecast coming up after the break.
You're watching News 6 at noon, Getting Results. We'll be right back.
Introducing the new $25 million Gold Rush Multiplier Scratch-Off from the Florida Lottery.
Chaos for hundreds of thousands of travelers after a fire shut down London's Heathrow Airport. The closure forced the cancellation of hundreds of flights to and from the U.S. Ian Lee spoke with passengers now looking for alternative ways to get home.
The trouble started Thursday night.
That's a biggie.
When a fire engulfed an electrical substation, knocking out power to London's Heathrow Airport and stranding thousands of travelers like New Yorker Robin Autry.
everything's just up in the air. It's pretty stressful. And I'm worried about how much is it going to cost me to fix this.
Heathrow shut down for the day, disrupting more than 1,300 flights. Justin McLean was flying to London from Boston.
The pilot came on and said that some of us may have noticed the plane was turning around, and not to be alarmed, but the London Heathrow was closed due to a fire.
120 planes turned back, while others closer to the British capital were diverted to nearby European cities. These college friends who spent their spring break in London are charting a new path back home.
Like, we're flying to Minnesota, but our college is in Iowa. So, like, we're going to fly, like, to my house in Minnesota, and then we're going to drive back to school.
Police aren't sure what caused the fire, but say there's no sign of foul play. Aviation experts say it could take several days to get Europe's busiest airport running smoothly again.
If you think about the number of flights that come into London every day from Hong Kong, from Dubai, from LA, from New York, it's massive.
Airlines have canceled around 500 flights to and from the U.S. Newly engaged travelers Anna and Charlie were meant to be on one of them.
We've had just horrible travel luck, it seems, our whole relationship, so.
Officials believe the travel turbulence will be temporary as they work to get planes back in the air. Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
I feel like the clothes are the same that people are probably wearing out at Daytona Beach. You're looking live right now. You know, it's spring break.
Yeah.
People want to go out. They want to get their tan on.
Of course.
But girl, that water, it's too cold.
Yes, it's just cool, too cold. Water, air, all of it. And just looking at that camera shot, there was nobody on the beach.
They're all inside. They're all at the bars.
It was it was empty, and you know what? Rightfully so. It's chilly out there. We are looking at a high rip current risk, and it is windy. We're still dealing with strong winds along our coastline. But I do want to start you off here with a live look outside here in downtown Orlando. Gorgeous, beautiful blue skies. This is from our Light Orlando camera delivering hope. But it is cool out there. We're in the 50s. If you are heading out for lunch, it'll stay breezy through majority of today because of the dry and also windy conditions. A red flag warning in effect for a few counties. But even though it's only a few counties, everybody across Central Florida needs to be careful when it comes to sparks and fire. And we are looking at a nice weekend ahead. Beautiful conditions. It'll be sunny and things will warm up nicely. As we take a look at the setup here, you're watching the water vapor imagery. There's our cold front that moved through yesterday. We have a ton of dry air over the peninsula. That is indicated by all of that orange there. But notice off to our west, area of high pressure will continue to move closer and closer to the state as we go through today. And that is going to keep things generally quiet as we head into the weekend. So if you have any weekend plans or anything outdoors going on, the weather is going to be wonderful. Now, temperatures, we're at 57 in Orlando, 59 in Kissimmee, 55 out in Ocala and Claremont. As we head to our coastal communities, 56 in Daytona Beach and 59 in Cocoa Beach there. Now, the winds, it is gusty. Winds are out of the northwest, so continuing to pull in that cooler air. But I do want to show you the gust here indicated in the red. 23 miles per hour in New Smyrna Beach, 19 miles per hour in Orlando, 23 miles per hour in the Villages. And it'll stay breezy as we go through pretty much the entire day. Now, because of the setup, we're looking at a red flag warning in effect for Orange, Osceola, as well as Brevard County. But as I mentioned before, everybody needs to take note, being very careful with any open fires. Just don't do it today. Properly discard cigarettes, cigars, and keep your vehicles off dry grass. We are still looking at very dry vegetation across Central Florida. So here's a look at your hour-by-hour forecast for today.
Sponsored by Strata Air Conditioning and Heating. AC emergency, you ought to call Strata.
Things are going to continue to warm up into the upper 60s by 2, lower 70s this afternoon, and we're going to keep the sunshine around. Now for the rest of Central Florida, 70 in Claremont, Leesburg, 69 in the Villages, Sanford, DeLand, a high of 69 for you all, but cooler along our coastline because of those strong northwesterly winds. We'll see a high of 64. In Daytona Beach, Cape Canaveral, 64 out in Melbourne. We also have a high rip current risk here indicated by the blue along all of our Atlantic beaches, so just be careful. And a small craft advisory looking at the surf between 4 to 7 feet. Also, make sure you're using caution. Clouds and rain forecast looking fantastic. You see that area of high pressure continuing to move north of us, keeping things quiet as we head into the weekend. And if you're looking for significant rain, we're really not going to get it, not only this weekend, at least for the next several days. days. And here's what I'm talking about. Here's a look at your 7 days. So if you're now tuning in, a high of 71 today, breezy. And we'll see chilly temperatures once again as we head into the overnight hours in the upper 40s. Saturday, a high of 78, very nice, pleasant, warmer on Sunday with a high of 83. And our next week cold front moves through on Monday, a few showers around with a high of 86. Crystal?
Michelle, thanks. A lawsuit featuring one of the most streamed songs of all time has been dropped. Up next, why experts say the holiday classic does not infringe on copyright. Listen up, parents. There is a consumer alert involving children's Benadryl. A recall is linked to the packaging, posing a risk of poisoning. The recall involves Benadryl liquid elixir bottles that were sold on Amazon between July of 2023 and October of last year. Now, the medication contains an ingredient that requires, by law, child-resistant packaging. Officials say the recall does not involve anything with the medication, but rather the bottle itself. Parents are being told either to keep the recalled bottles away from kids or throw them away. It's a holiday classic on everyone's playlist. Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas. You know what I'm talking about. This week, a copyright lawsuit over the song was dismissed in a Los Angeles court. Songwriters Andy Stone and Troy Powers wanted $20 million in damages, claiming Carey stole their track of the same name. However, an analysis of both songs by a musicologist determined the similarities were, quote, fragmentary. The analysis also shows that there was a lack of evidence to prove the allegations of theft. Carey's song, by the way, has sold more than 10 million copies and has been streamed over 2 billion times as of last December. And that song's been out since what, 1994? Come on, why did we wait this long? Well, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more news 6+ at noon. Plus, one last check of your forecast. Also known as The Rock, or America's Devil Island, on this day in 1963, Alcatraz prison closed its doors for good. Today, it remains an iconic tourist destination and was known for its harsh conditions and record for being inescapable. During its time in operation, it featured some of the most advanced security of the time, including the first metal detectors. I didn't know that. It was originally called Island of the Pelicans because of all the birds that live there. It was sold to the U.S. government in 1849 and then became a prison in 1907. Now, one of the most notable inmates was Chicago mobster Al Capone, who was there from 1934 to 1939.
That is interesting.
All right. I would be too afraid to visit as a tourist.
Yeah, me too.
Like, no. You guys missed the break, but that was the chair that I used this morning, and Michelle sat there and was like, oh, it's so high.
And it was like a ride when I put it on. I was like,
you know what? The struggle is real.
It's okay.
For, people
it's all
of my
good.
height, so whatever. Anyways, give us a final weather, what people can expect today. And of course the weekend, because it's finally Friday.
Yeah, that's right. We're looking pretty good across central Florida here. It's a chilly start, but winds will stick around as we go through today. We'll see a high in the lower 70s in Orlando, abundant sunshine, but because of the dry weather and also the winds, the combination of both of those, we're looking at critical fire weather conditions. Red flag warning in effect for Orange, Brevard, and Osceola counties through the evening hours. But even though they're under a red flag warning, really everybody needs to use caution. No fires today. Don't park your vehicles on dry grass or just really any vegetation. Weekend, though, looking much better. Temperatures in the upper 70s or 80s on Sunday and a few showers on Monday, so not too bad.
I'm here for those 80s.
Me too.
Come on now. You're going to wait till after spring break? I know you can't control that, Michelle. I'm not going to blame you. Well, join us for our next newscast right here on News 6 Plus at 4 o'clock. We break news on clickorlando.com. You can also find all of our stories, breaking news, and podcasts on our News 6 Plus app. And of course, we're going to get you back to basketball. Head to News 6 on Channel 6 for the NCAA tournaments.